Hands are done. I didn't pop out the True Eyes of Cthulhu yet. The right hand's I think on 11, left hand on 14, and there's about 66,000 HP to deal to the Topeye. And like I had predicted earlier, we are dealing damage to the Topeye considerably faster than we were to the hands, which means this 67,500 HP is going to go a lot faster than the damage that we had to deal to the hands. Hey Foolish. I assume it's morning for you. It's about 2 in the afternoon for me. Let's get into the rhythm of things here. I set up another teleporter to allow me to come up here and, hey Beluga. Whack up the Moonlord a bit. And we deal pretty good damage, all things considered. I know it might not look too impressive, seeing as it is with a lawnmower, but in comparison to what we had been dealing, this is really quite substantial. I'll check how much damage we've dealt in an hour, and we can extrapolate from there. Because any short-term measurements are going to be flawed. By just random variance. But, you know, an hour, or honestly a half hour is probably long enough to get a good feel for exactly how well we do things. The Topeye keeps wanting to drift up, which is inconvenient. Hey, Recoin. Come on, get back here. Come on. I keep messing up when I'm trying to get damage in at the end of his death ray. The timing window there's a bit tight. Didn't know the Aether monolith existed. You always brought Shimmer when you wanted the background? Well, now you know. Another fun fact, you can equip monoliths in the accessory slots to give the visual effects. They are equipable items. Thank you, Beth. So the Shimmer biome is called the Aether, or the Ether. It has the liquid shimmer in it, but the biome is the Ether. Hey, Mossy. Did you add a moss to your name? Wrong account. I see. You have 5? Are they all just variations of Mossy? Oops. What do you need 5 accounts for? That seems a bit excessive. I suppose because I assume you use all 5 of them if you get them mixed up. Because I wouldn't think it's like, you know, you'd even be like acting like somebody else because they all have the same, roughly the same name. It'll take less time to take down the head-eye? Yes, we deal better damage. How are things going? They're going pretty well. How'd you get destroyed by the Destroyer? It's fucking classic. How did you? What happened? What's the context for that? Hey, Jokey. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I don't know. Had a sandwich for lunch. Some deli chicken. Ham and cheese. Basically just a grilled cheese with chicken and ham. No! I stopped pressing the button. Fuck off. Almost the lawnmower doesn't stop attacking when you stop holding it. It has like a slight delay to it before it actually stops. Destroyer showed you about 10 times in 1.2 before you beat it. That's different. I feel like pre 1.2 was a different time, or even in 1.2. Pre 1.3. Before expert mode. Mode you made when you played current version. Yeah, but like the vibe of the game was very different before expert mode. And like it feels weird to die in classic now that you're used to playing expert, but before expert was a thing, like people died in classic a lot. You're on the edge of my seat. Edge of your seat. If you're on the edge of my seat, I'd be concerned. Very gripping gameplay. If you've ever. Is Lawnmower only legendary mode? No. This is not legendary mode. This is expert mode. It's on the don't dig up seat. This is not get fixed boy. If this was get fixed boy, the Moonlord would be shooting boulders from his Topeye, which he is very clearly not doing. Damn it. Get off. That's not my teleporters, though. You want a bed? I used to, basically just use my bed as a desk before I had an actual desk. Legend something you've only enjoyed with a group of friends, did it with a group of 6. Get Fixed Boy or Further Worthy? To be clear, in case it's not clear, the legendary difficulty just means master mode. Okay, so just regular Further Worthy. Yeah, it's very tedious playing by yourself, and I think For the Worthy is better balanced if you play like Expert For the Worthy, or I guess that'd be Master For the Worthy as opposed to Legendary For the Worthy. Just because in hard mode the number scaling gets less obscene, and some of the For the Worthy changes are really fun. Get Fixed Boy is kind of miserable regardless of what you do though. I Fixed Boy was so hard you tried to play yourself and took hours. Yeah, it's very brutal. I haven't played Get Fixed Boy solo since I did it in hardcore. Into like 300 hours? God damn. When you said hours, I was not expecting that many. And you stuck with it? Oh, good on you for that one. Yeah, I did some multiplayer Get Fixed Boy worlds, but I haven't played Get Fixed Boy since hardcore. I pretty much got as much as I wanted to play, like, within the week or two after the update dropped. Got your stuff back? You playing medium core? Stuck with it, but pre-hard was the hardest. Yeah, pre-hard mode is pretty brutal. All of it's brutal, but especially I feel like pre-boss Get Fixed Boy is the hardest part. Like when you're just starting out in the game, you don't have HP, you don't have a way to traverse the world. You remember getting murked by the Brain of Cthulhu like no one else? I don't really have too much issue with the Brain of Cthulhu, although in multiplayer he does get pretty tough. So that could be part of it. I remember he was pretty brutal in multiplayer. But in single player, I'd much rather fight Brain than Eater. You never did a Secret Seed before that? Never saw anything about it? That is a bold decision, playing Get Fixed Boy as your first Secret Seed. Especially Get Fixed Boy Legendary mode. I think the Destroyer had over 1 million HP with 5 of us on. Yeah, I'd be more concerned about the Wall of Flesh. Because Legendary mode, Wall of Flesh HP scaling goes crazy. I've... You know, played that medium core or hardcore? Nice. I like medium core. But yeah, I know in some of the large multiplayer worlds, when you had like 14 or 15 people doing the Get Fixed Boy Wall of Flesh, bitch had like Moonlord HP. And was such a nightmare. You know, nurse up before walking to the end of the bridge, then take 250 damage from one demon sickle. Pro tip, future tip, if you guys all have like magic mirrors or something, you guys could just set your bed at the end of the underworld, and then just walk away and like recall there when you're ready, and if you all do it in sync, then you'll all get there at the same time. Also means if you die and respawn during the Wall of Flesh fight, you can potentially get back in by just running to where it is, although you would be behind it. You're gonna start from the bottom and work all the way up and get Fixed Boy? What does that mean? Because you start from the bottom regardless. You used a boss multiplayer mod, and you set the multiplayer to something that made the HP of like 2 billion bosses would have 6 HP? What? I'm not sure I understand. Yeah, I agree, Time Death. I think playing a lot of medium core and hardcore is what forced me to get better at the game, because softcore really holds your hand. And essentially teaches you that there's nothing wrong with dying. There's no reason to avoid it. Durplings will kill you in one hit unless you have claw fight armor or something. Well, there's random variation. I think a lot of hard mode jungle enemies would be potentially able to one-hit players with bad RNG and low defense. I don't see how claw fight armor is particularly relevant there. Oh, okay, it would, like, overflow to 6. That's interesting. Alright, see you, Lalzi. Thank you. The hardest difficulty would be, get Fixed Boy set to 2.95x difficulty, I guess with 10x spawns. But, like, the thing is, that's not hardcore. And even playing on 2.95x with 10x spawns, it'd still be easier than doing it in hardcore. Like, it gets to a point where you can't really clear-cut a hardest difficulty. Because also, like, you'd have to arbitrarily decide, okay, I will use certain journey mode powers, like changing the difficulty to the hardest one and upping those things, but not other difficulty adjustments. Maybe I arbitrarily force hardcore rules, but, like, as far as game setting choices you can make, I'd probably consider hardcore legendary get Fixed Boy to be more difficult than just, like, being able to die is really, like, a world of difference. Legendary mode Old One's Army. Yeah, the Old One's Army is really a DPS test. And it's very inconvenient because on higher difficulties, the DPS test just gets harder and harder to pass. And it makes the event just more and more annoying. You don't like Herplings on Expert? They do like 150 damage. I think Herplings are bad. Wait till you get to, like, Rune Wizards, Giant Tortoises, Snipers, Motion Death Ray. Oh, it's another. My least favorite enemy is and always will be Rune Wizards. And, if you know, you know. If you know, then you've played hardcore. Free 1.4.4. You need pillar weapons to clear Betsy consistently? On legendary mode? No, I don't agree. However, are you on multiplayer or single player? It's much harder on single player than multiplayer. In my experience. On legendary mode, it's like 1,000 damage, V Revenant. Tim, too? Tim's contact damage is not nearly as bad as Rune Wizards. You can walk into Tim and be fine. You walk into a Rune Wizard, it's like getting run over by a bus. It's still over 160? Yeah, but your max HP in pre-hard mode is 400. Whereas Rune Wizards deal over your max health in contact damage. And like, yeah, maybe if you're early in the game, you might get one shot by a Tim, but it's not very likely. Because you get, you get life crystals pretty quickly, and once you're at like 200, you're pretty safely out of one-shot range. You update a way to increase health above 500? Why? I don't think they need to add a way to increase health above 500. Why would they? Is not good at dodging? Then you want defense, not max HP. Get a tank build. You don't need to care about dodging. If you haven't noticed, I'm eating, like, all of the Moonlord's attacks without really caring very much on expert mode. The only one that I'm kind of dodging is the Death Ray. Mage? You can play a tank mage. Sure, it won't be, like, particularly effective, but you can do a tank mage. You can do tank summoner, too, especially post-golem. Post-golem tank summoner is fine. The old one's armor sets go hard. You can make hybrid tank setups, and they can be fairly effective. Hell, like 2/3 of my armor is arguably summoner armor. Well, Hollow Knight Breastplate is 30% summon damage and a bunch of life regen. The Greaves are 20% summon damage, both of them having a ton of defense. Basically, melee tanking annoys you because you're sort of needing 3 paladin shields. You do not need 3 paladin shields. What the fuck? Who told you that? That is nowhere near true. What would you even use the 3rd shield for? A 3rd paladin shield is worse than a Flesh Knuckles. At most, you would need 2, and even then, I would really only use 1. Why would you use the regular shield over Flesh Knuckles and Berserker's Glove? It's less defense and its effects are useless because you already have the knockback immunity from the Hero Shield and the Frozen Shield. And even Frozen Shield I don't think is really particularly worthwhile because, like, how often are you below 50% HP? I know for me it's barely ever. Like, it's basically just a Paladin shield with a slight ability that's not really that useful to me. Because if I'm tanking effectively, I need to be able to sustain over a period of time, and if I need to sustain, I'm not going to be going below half HP. Because if I'm going below half HP, I'm not going to be able to sustain damage. What I would use as a tank setup is like Hero Shield, Flesh Knuckle, Berserker's Glove, Cross Necklace, that's 4 accessories. Celestial Shell, if I'm able to get it. That's 7 defense at night and like a good amount of regen and whatnot. That's 5 accessories. If you want other accessories, this is at the point where I'd consider slotting in a shield. But like Wormscarf and Brain of Confusion go pretty damn hard in tanking setups. I'd probably consider them before a Frozen Shield or a Paladin Shield. And then if you're on Master Mode, that leaves 1 more accessory slot. And I mean, honestly, Shiny Stone goes pretty fucking hard in tank setups. I'm using the Shiny Stone right now. But, like, that slot is where I'd maybe consider a Frozen Shield on Master Mode. But even then, I'm not too sure about it. There's other good options. There's no below 50% for you. It's either 100% or you're dead. Frozen Turtle Shell grinding is pretty time consuming. Yeah, I mean, I play tank a lot. I very rarely will grind for more than 2 Paladin Shields at most. Usually just 1. Now, Flesh Knuckles are a different story. Flesh Knuckles, fantastic, and absolutely something you want 3 of. But yeah, to do a tank summoner, you'd basically be having a similar setup to what I have now, except, you'd probably swap the helmet for one that gives summon bonuses. I'm not sure exactly which one you'd do. And then you'd use accessories that give you minion slots and summoning potions. And since the damage buffs on Valhalla Knight's stuff is actually pretty fucking cracked, like, I have 50% summon damage bonus right now, just from those 2 armor pieces. You know, you get your summon slots from things other than armor, accessories and bewitching table and summoning potion and stuff like that. And then you can get, like, you thought you couldn't stack multiple the same accessory? You can't, but the Flesh Knuckles have 3... There are 3 Flesh Knuckle accessories. There's the Flesh Knuckles, there's the Berserker's Glove, and there's the Hero Shield. The Flesh Knuckles and Berserker's Glove both give 8 defense, the Hero Shield gives 10 defense. And another accessory that a lot of people don't think of when making tank setups, because it's a bit out of the way and doesn't feel like a tanking accessory at first glance, is the Celestial Shell, which gives you between 4 and 7 defense, depending on whether it's daytime or nighttime. Nighttime gives you 7 defense, which is more than a Paladin Shield and almost as much as the Flesh Knuckles. And it also gives a lot of HP regen, along with miscellaneous other buffs. It's quite a good accessory. I mean, it's basically better than a class emblem. It's a 10% non-specific damage buff and a 2% crit, which is only, like, you know, a little under 3% worse than, like, 15% melee whatever damage from an emblem from the Wall of Flesh. If you're melee, it straight up is better, because you get the werewolf buffs. You slept on the Aegis Fruit 4 defense pre-hard mode. What do you mean pre-hard mode? How are you gonna get an Aegis Fruit pre-hard mode? Early hard mode. Yeah. Aegis Fruit, fantastic. It's basically a free, warding accessory. Hey, Sharktails. Yeah, Bass Statue, also fantastic. Love me a Bass Statue. Hey, Pink Mimic. Damage isn't quite what I hoped. It's looking like it's going to be like 2,700 an hour. Would have liked it if it was a bit higher than that. Oh well. One thing you hate about 1.2 mobile is a mage, you don't see actual mana stats over 200. Unfortunate. I don't really play mage, so I've never really experienced any issues like that. I don't like mage. You got max come and got the next area? Nice! Did you see what the area is called? How much defense am I on right now? I'm on 130. Transmutation's lame, Mossy. Like, you could also use transmutation to just get a fucking zenith. You know. I mean, in terms of playing in, like, it's a cool glitch, but in terms of, like, actually playing the game, I think it's lame as hell. Like, if I was trying to do an actual playthrough, like I was doing multiplayer or something, and someone was doing the transmutation glitch to get items, I would be very annoyed. It'll supposedly be fixed in 1.4.5. Is this coming from the devs? I was suspecting that it would. A lot of people didn't believe me when I told them that I thought the devs were almost certainly going to patch it. But is that something they actually said, or is that just speculated? What's that glitch? That's the one where you, like, desync the game and swap around item IDs, to turn one item into another item. Cool thing about the 5 pebbles area is that the floor can kill you? What, not the 0 gravity? Yes, on Red's profile about it as a report. Okay. Mostly speculations for small talks here and there. I gotta confirm if devs say something. I see. The only thing that I know the devs have said, and I'm not looking for 1.4.5 spoilers, but the only thing that I know, is almost certainly going to get patched, or I guess in this case nerfed, in 1.4.5, is that Line Force had, before he had passed away, talked to people about the lucky coin not being meant to be used the way it was being used, and it was intended to be nerfed so it could only trigger like once per enemy, from my understanding. Now, whether or not that's still the plan, I don't know. I just know that was the plan a couple months ago. But because of that, I suspect the lucky coin from that Dino Chess and Quasar made, and I made a video on, and then the subsequent one that Mappy made a video on, as an improvement of it, probably won't work in 1.4.5. It's a bit unresponsive. The low gravity is kind of a pain, yeah. But yeah, I assume it's going to get patched just because it's such a broken glitch. Like, it's truly an unfortunate development. Well, because, like, it's not like other glitches where, how am I going to damage the core? I mean, the exact same way I'm damaging the eye, just the core instead. It's not like some glitches where it's, like, mostly harmless. And even then, they still usually patch those glitches. Like, there was that glitch where you would get Seaweed the pet item instead of Seaweed the trash item. There was that glitch where you could summon multiple Duke Fishrons, at once. Like, there have been plenty of, like, pretty harmless glitches that the devs have patched. You know, the only, like, long-term glitchy thing, which at this point isn't even so much a glitch as it is a feature, is, like, hoiking. And hoiking is pretty harmless for the most part. Like, it's something that a lot of, people really like and use a lot. But its practical applications for most runs are limited. You know, they broke a couple things with block swap platform hoiks in 1.4. And I could potentially see maybe those getting nerfed, especially with, like, the invincibility machine, old one's army cheese, and stuff like that. But something like transmutation, like, genuinely breaks apart the entire game when you can get basically any item in the game almost immediately. Especially since it's pretty widespread and well known. The video that originally talked about it, I think, is like 500,000 views. I'm going to reach the core and avoid the pop dies. I'm not going to avoid the pop dies, I'm just going to tank the pop dies, and I'm going to reach the core the exact same way that I'm reaching the Topeye, which is the teleporter. Which you can see is already positioned right where the core is. There's a teleporter right there. This bad hoiking is here to stay forever. Yeah, I hope they don't fix the hoiks that came out in 1.4. If you didn't know, block swapping added a new type of hoik, which is my favorite type of hoik. And I think is also Quasar's favorite type of hoik. He knows a lot about hoiking, and it's the basis for a lot of the designs that he's shown me. It's the one that lets like the old one's army cheese work. Didn't move yet. The Lance teleport. I mean, I think popularity is a big part of which of these they patched, and whether or not it's like how many people know about it and how widely used it is, I think, is a big part of it. You use it to get through the walls in the temple room instead of going through the entrance. Yeah, but that's a pretty minor application. Like, yeah, it doesn't really accomplish anything, hoiking into the temple. Because you can't really do much there. You can get a solo tablet pre-mech bosses, and you can avoid walking through the temple once you've killed Plantera to summon Golem. The pillars count as bosses, or are they more Goblin armies and Old One's army or mini-boss? They're, like, event. I guess maybe at a stretch you would call them an event boss, but they're really just event enemies. They are the event. They're not really enemies, is the thing. They don't have... Like, they don't do anything. They just sit there as you spawn waves of enemies. You know, hoik through pre-Plantera since there's nothing to do. That's not true. If you go there pre-mech bosses, you can get a solo tablet before the mech bosses, which allows you to do a solo eclipse pre-mech bosses, and doing that allows you to get bat wings, or the moonstone, without killing a mech boss. That is about the most useful application that you would get from hoiking into the temple. Bat wings being equivalent to a post-mech tier of wings, so they are the best pre-hard mode boss wings that you can obtain. As a result. Thread's game is compatible with bugs if he wants. Yeah. You could just use Rod of Discord. You cannot use Rod of Discord. You cannot Rod of Discord into the temple pre-Plantera. They patched that. You can use the Rod of Discord after Plantera is dead, but until Plantera is dead, the Rod of Discord, I think, just treats it as if you're trying to teleport into a solid block. If you try to teleport into the temple. Also, the Rod of Discord trash item deserves to go in the trash slot. Fuck the Rod of Discord. All my homies hate the Rod of Discord. Same with pylons. I didn't know that. That's quite interesting. So if you had an NPC house near the temple and you managed to put a pylon inside the temple, you couldn't teleport to the pylon? Why? The Rod of Discord is a clutch item that teaches you bad habits and teaches you to, just be able to erase and forgive mistakes that you make, without actually learning how to overcome them. If you need the Rod of Discord to do well against a boss, you're not good at fighting the boss. And if you don't need the Rod of Discord to do well at fighting the boss, why use the Rod of Discord? Like, it's a crutch. And sure, it's effective, it's good at what it does, but it doesn't teach you to play the game well. It teaches you bad habits. It is a good way to die quickly, that is true. Also a good way to keep your HP below 50% if you're trying to use the Shrimpy Truffle. By the way, fun fact, if you didn't know, the Shrimpy Truffle, there are two means of activating the Shrimpy Truffle's high-speed damage boost section, or mode. Being wet, either in the rain or going through liquids, will cause the Shrimpy Truffle to get you up to that speed buff, and also give you that juicy 15% damage boost. Or being below half HP will also cause the Shrimpy Truffle to do it. So, even if it's not raining, if you can keep your HP below half, you can keep the Shrimpy Truffle at a high speed, which can potentially be helpful if you're trying to fight, say, Daytime Empress of Light. Rod of Discord shines when you want to teleport next to a Vein of Titanium not during a fight. I don't know how you mine, but I have never been in a situation where it's faster to use the Rod of Discord to teleport next to a Vein of Titanium instead of just mining to the Vein of Titanium. Like, when I mine at, like, Mach 7. With, like, very high mining speed buffs. If I want to go there, somewhere on screen, I'll probably be there in, like, a second. Once spelunking in Mod of the Vanilla. That's understandable. And yeah, it's not the Rod of Discord is, like, bad at what it does. I just think it's a bad item to use because it teaches you to play the game poorly. And it teaches you bad habits. Then there's the Rod of Harmony, which is completely broken. Rod of Harmony is just pre-nerf Rod of Discord. But it's post-game, so, like, who cares? Also helps develop bad habits and lose skill over time. Yeah. Like, probably the worst advice you could give someone, let's say someone's struggling on the Moonlord, and they want to get better at fighting the Moonlord, and you give them the advice of, like, get the Rod of Discord to dodge the Phantasmal Death Ray, that's probably the worst advice you could give them. Because then they're never going to learn how to actually dodge the Death Ray. And they're going to just rely on the Rod of Discord. You found it humorous, so I measured damage per hour. How are we doing at damage per hour? It's been 44 minutes. We've done about 2100 damage. Yeah, I think we're going to be looking at like 2700 damage an hour, probably. But yeah, that's also why anytime that I get the Rod of Discord on stream, I just throw it in the trash. Which really, I think, has only happened once. But 2700 an hour. Yeah, but the numbers might change depending on performance. Until I reach the hour mark, I'm kind of just guessing. Because I might mess up, I might lower the average by, you know, teleporting at bad times. I might raise the average by doing particularly well. might hone my strategy over time. Like, against the hands, I was initially doing, like, 1,000 damage an hour. And then, by the end of the time we were fighting the hands, I raised that up to, like, 17 or 1,800 damage an hour. Which made us get through it a lot faster. Almost looks like watching a macro. I definitely have inconsistent moments. I've eaten a few death rays here and there. Sometimes I mess up the teleporting, and I get a little disoriented and have to come back and fix things. I don't know why that happens. Actually, I think I know what it is. If I teleport early when I'm on that teleporter over there, and I'm further on the left side, I must pick up all the hurts that are on the left side here. Holy hand grenades? I never played on the non-PC version, so I never had holy hand grenades. Have you used a health potion yet as a save, or have maintained high enough HP? I've used health potions a couple times. Well, probably more than a couple times over the span of, like, a 55-hour fight, however long this has been. I haven't really used very many, though. Pretty much the only times I'll use health potions is when I accidentally eat death ray hits, like, twice in a row. It happened a lot more at the beginning of the fight, as I was still kind of learning how to dodge it with these teleporters. Now it doesn't really happen too often. But they're there as an emergency, in case, because, you know, 2 death ray hits is like 450 damage, roundabout. I don't really want to eat that. I really hope I have a nice meal once this fight is done. I'll be doing the cooking stream after this fight is done. I'll be making a chicken pot pie, so hopefully I will. I'm not doing this all in one sitting, though, if that's not clear. I've been taking breaks, because I could not... I've been doing this for like 55 hours or something like that. Doing that in one sitting would be obscene, and his health bar isn't even halfway down. Holy hand grenades were a weapon in, I think, console and mobile version of Terraria back in 1.2. It was a reference to worms, and it was basically, well, okay, it's a reference to worms, which is a reference to Monty Python. Because I think it was like there were several worms related items that were added. One of them being the Holy Hand Grenade, and it being in Worms in the first place is a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And it was basically just a very strong explosion that also damaged you, I believe. Yeah, like that was an example of eating the death ray. But it was only one death ray hit, so I can regen that pretty easily with the shiny stone. I just lingered a moment too long. Wait. What's the song in the background playing on loop? This is the Dead Cell soundtrack. I forget which part of the soundtrack this is. I don't think it's on loop, though, is it? I think it's just playing a different track. Because I think I started with Bank, and I don't think this is the Bank theme, is it? Is it the Bank theme? Hold on. Where's Bank? Hold on. Why is it looping? It's not supposed to be looping. Let me fix that. I don't know how long it would have taken for me to notice that it was looping. If you hadn't said something. Man, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow. My grandparents are coming over for dinner, and we decided on just getting pizza, which means I don't have to cook anything, which is nice. But the thing is, I talked about this before, but there was the zucchini incident. Where my sister and I, well, I say my sister and I, what I mean by that is my sister, left a bunch of zucchini and squash on top of a piece of furniture in the living room that then, like, rotted and seeped into the furniture. And then we had to spend a day, like, taking apart the furniture with power tools, to throw it away. And we have not told, we haven't really told anybody in our family about this. They don't need to know. That's not a story that we need to hear, because that's not something you live down easily. But I know without a doubt that my grandparents are... Hey, Elden Ring player. Going to comment on the fact that the top half of the furniture is no longer there. Because we basically just took the top half off of a glass, like, curio. And I know they're going to comment on it. And we're basically just going to have to lie to them about why we took it apart. Because I don't think my grandfather would care that much, but holy shit, we would never hear the end of it from our grandmother. If we told her that we left, like, zucchini and squash rotting on top of a curio for, like, a month and a half, and didn't notice until it got bad enough we had to take apart the furniture and throw it away, we would never hear the end of that shit. Why did we have rotting zucchini and squash there? Because we put it there to store it there and then forgot about it. I say we forgot about it. What I mean by that is I kept reminding my sister and asking if she wanted me to make it, and then she was like, no, it's okay. And then it just kind of gradually got forgotten. Maybe said that you had termites? That's a harder sell. The thing is, my grandfather used to be like a carpenter and a repairman. And so the real thing to explain isn't that we took apart the cabinet, it's that we took apart it and didn't tell him. Or, like, didn't mention it or anything like that. You know, didn't ask for help or anything like that. Didn't bring it up. And we have the lie planted, right? Because my mom was here like a week or two ago, and she had commented on it, and we were like, oh yeah, you know, spur of the moment lie, the glass had cracked, so we decided to take apart the top part and just turn it into, like a desk type thing. And that worked fine, except for the fact, small problem, we still have the doors, and the doors are sitting outside, and the glass is not cracked on them. Why'd you throw it away? Can you still get it back? We don't want it back. It has rotting zucchini and squash smell inside of it. That thing smells awful. The top of it, the part that we took apart. It's made out of glass? No, it has glass doors. It's not made out of glass. It's made out of wood. And trust me, when your wet, soggy, rotting zucchini has seeped into wood, you're not keeping that wood. Rock versus flowy? What does that even mean? Is it a reference to something? Yeah, it's also awkward because, like, I don't know if my grandparents are paying for pizza or if, like, they're expecting us to pay for pizza or what. And it's awkward because, like, I don't want to pay for pizza. I do those furniture if they fill in furniture with, like, ramen noodles. That doesn't sound like a nightmare. Because it's weird, because normally, like, we go over to their house for dinner. And they just make dinner. But then they said they wanted to have dinner here, but then they said they were going to pick up pizza. Like, does that mean we're supposed to pay them back for the pizza? Are we supposed to buy our own pizza? Like, what is going on here? Yeah, you don't want to ask, because then it might seem rude if they're, like, expecting it to go one way or the other. I don't really even want to have dinner in the first place. Buy a new one and act like it's the original one, and if your grandparents say anything about it not looking like the original, just tell them that they were crazy and they're imaginary. You're paying for pizza? Thank you, V-Revenant. I'll tell my grandparents that there's $5 in undistributed YouTube payments that haven't been sent to my account yet that I can use to pay for the pizza. Because I think I get paid, like, the money gets sent out at, like, the end of the month or something. I try vinegar, disinfectant, and alcohol. Look, no, there's... Mossy, that thing is not coming back. It's not coming back. Hey, Sucho. There's no cleaning it. There's no disinfecting it. It's also not real wood. It's like that fake wood. At what point you just get new furniture? The point where rotting zucchini and squash has seeped into it. At that point, you get new furniture. Compacted wood? I don't know the name of it. But it's like that fake... Is it in the wood itself? Yeah, it's seeped into the wood. Look, the rotting zucchini was like a wet slop. It wasn't... I think it was particle board. Yeah, particle board. This isn't like just a zucchini that went bad. This is a zucchini that turned into a, like, wet slop. And, like, liquefied and seeped through the bag that it was in. And did that for probably, like, several days before we caught it. Like, there's no taking this wood back. It's gone. It's dead. Okay, so we actually did a bit above 2,700 damage an hour, it looks like. Maybe we're more on, like, the 2,800, 2,900. Put a bedsheet over them and never let them walk into the room where it's at. It's in, like, the living room. It's, like, a foot from the door. And God, I was talking about this with my sister last night. Move it to my... I don't want that shit in my room. That shit smells. No. I don't even have room in my room. This is the... have you seen that giant plushie cabinet that I've sent pictures of a couple times? Like the thing with the big glass doors that has a bunch of stuffed animals in it? It's that thing. It's massive. It's like 4 feet wide and like 6 feet tall. Can I remove the part that was in contact with the Curse of the Rotten? Yes, we did. Like 2 weeks ago. Which is what we're talking about. We took up the whole top part off, and now we just have the bottom half. But now we just have half of the piece of furniture that we used to have. And it's not like we can say we got rid of the whole thing. We have to have it come up with a reason why we got rid of just the top half and also didn't tell anybody about it. The Curio had top surgery? I'll just put the trans cobra. By the way, very cute sticker that I got. I sent a picture of it in the Discord server after the reptile convention. It's the trans cobra. It's a cobra that's just like the colors of the trans flag, but it looks dope as hell. There was this lady at the Reptile Expo that was selling like a bunch of like pride snake paraphernalia. It was a really neat looking sticker. They put the trans cobra on it. Yeah, another awkward thing is that I don't know. I was talking about this with my sister last night, and I don't know if it's like differences in cleanliness standards, in food standards, or what, but I've never gotten sick, nor has my sister ever gotten sick from anything that I've cooked, right? Whereas, like, there have definitely been times where we've eaten at other people's houses or food that they've cooked that really hasn't sat well, or like, you know, just made you feel sick afterwards or things like that. And like, I'm really rigorous about like smelling my meat. Let me rephrase that. I'm very rigorous about smelling raw meat that you buy from the grocery store, to make sure it doesn't smell off or anything before I cook with it. And the thing is, a lot of the times, the meat from the grocery store will, like, smell off and we get rid of it. Probably, like, half the time, that we get meat, we end up throwing it away because it's just gone off. And it's frustrating as hell. I mean, usually the things people make for you. I don't know. I've also noticed that, like, the standards of cleanliness that I have and my sister have, and also my other sister have, are not the same standards of cleanliness that a lot of people have. Like, I've been to my grandparents' house for a period of time. I've cooked with, like, their, like, pots and pans and utensils and things. And their idea of clean is not my idea of clean. There will be, like, residue on the pots. There will be... My sister got a wine glass that just had, like, discoloration on the bottom of it where, like, the glass touches the neck. And, like, as a result, I don't really like eating food that other people have prepared a lot of the time. Because, like, I don't know the kitchen that this was made in, but I've seen the kitchens that some people make me food in, and like I'm not about that. But then I'm at the awkward point in time where like I can't say no to coming over because I'm like I've already kind of established. My sister and I have this like established, like, on Friday nights, we go over to our grandparents' house to eat dinner. Like, that's, like, when we see them. And, like, they moved down to where we are, like, specifically to, like, spend time with, the family that lives here. They had moved, like, last year. But, like... This shit is not clean, and I don't like eating this food. Please, I don't, Yeah, it's like a once-a-week thing. And it's gradually getting less and less pleasant. And I know my sister has mentioned, like, not feeling well after eating there sometimes, particularly, like, eating pork. Then, like, I don't like eating at my mom's house either, because my mom has way too many cats and is not very good about, like, keeping cats off of, like, you know, drying dishes and things like that. Like, there's just cat hair in food, and I don't like that. I've had scammers in my chat? What do you mean scammers? You don't have to not tell them that it's not clean. That's too many negatives. Pretend that you're sick, but I can't do that every week. I'm not obligated to be polite. Yeah, but, like, I see these people a lot, and, like, I mean, they also, like, have money, you know? You don't really want to, like, be on bad terms with elderly relatives that have money. I'm not talking about them, like, passing away or anything. I just mean, like, they don't have a lot of things to spend money on, and they really like spending time with us, so we can, like, get a lot of things. Like, they'll take us out to eat and, you know, go do stuff, and, like, it's nice, not having to pay for everything myself. You kind of just, you know, bite the bullet of, doing some less than pleasant things like that sometimes. My favorite local type of food place? Oh, there's this chicken restaurant, that's not too far from me. Fucking fantastic chicken. You can get, like, you can feed 2 people at that chicken restaurant for, like, 15 bucks, and the food is fantastic. You get, like, a half rotisserie chicken, which is 2, like, big chicken breast pieces, and you also get 2 sides. Great food for 2 people. Fantastic chicken. Better price efficiency than, like, most fast food restaurants. Clean it yourself or clean with them, but then I have to spend more time there, and I always end up, like, getting roped into spending more time than I want to spend there. Because, like, we go over there for dinner, but then we end up, like, spending an hour or 2 beyond just eating, because there's, like, oh, they need help with, like, their Wi-Fi, or, like, getting their OneDrive synced on their phone, or there's something wrong with the TV, or, you know, their laptop's booting slowly, or they're, talk about, like, doing some woodworking thing, or something. And, like, I love spending time with them, don't get me wrong, but, like, I got a life of my own. I don't want to be spending all day there. I want to get home in a prompt manner. Because, like, that's my Friday night, right? I like doing things on a Friday night. Local Chinese restaurant near you has an owner that's almost too kind, since you end up giving you too much food when you dine in, and you just like having leftovers. Back what's happening? We're talking about food. Yeah, I found out, well, like, genuinely, like, my whole weekend is really fucked up, because, like, it's really cutting into my time to do this, because, like, I've got a birthday party, this Sunday. I'm having dinner with them this Friday. I've got a laser hair removal appointment this Saturday. You know, my time's really scattered. And the problem is I'm going to be exhausted after these things. Maybe not the laser hair removal, but the other things. Yeah, I learned this the other day. Apparently, like, bleaching chicken is just, like, a thing in the US. I think it's a shadier practice, and, you know, not everywhere does it, but, like, grocery stores or butchers will just, like, bleach their chicken to, like, you know, a little bit before it goes completely off. Before they sell it to you, to, like, make it look fresher and push back its date. That's a thing. Yeah, Food Lion bleaches their chicken. Sometimes you'll get a chicken that just smells super chemically. And it's not like it's, like, smells sour, it just smells like chemicals. Does it make it worse? I don't know. But I think that's part of why I have so many issues with chicken going bad. It's because I'm buying, like, stale, bleached chicken. It's like the thing they put on apples to make it shinier. Kind of, I think so. Not every store does it, Recoin. It's a shady practice, and if you find out that a grocery store does do it, you shouldn't buy meat from there. In my opinion. Apples just have food-safe wax on them. Yeah, that's not quite comparable. But it's the similar idea of taking things that are less appealing and doing something to make them more appealing. Sue the chicken? I assume it's an FDA-approved practice. I don't think you could sue them for it. Like, the FDA probably allows some amount of, like, disinfecting, before selling chicken. Can I get a bleached chicken for the cookie stream? I'd really rather not. This happens at my local North American grocer. I wouldn't say local. It's at Food Lion, which is, like, in a lot of the southeast US, possibly beyond that. But probably happens in other places too. Your lips don't like apple skins? Kind of prejudiced of them. Yeah, just because some places practice it doesn't mean everywhere practices it, but... You live in an area with a lot more Safeway and no Food Lion. There's still a lot of half health? Because there's a lot of health. The apple feels weird without the skin. I don't really de-skin my apples, so I can't speak too much there. Food Lion is the, how do I describe it? I'm not too familiar with Safeway, but Food Lion is like the, the one step above Walmart, like, not nice grocery store, but, like, it's not Walmart grocery store. I'd probably put it, like, on tier with, like, Market Basket or, stuff like that. Where it's like the, you know. Grocery store food tier list. Yo, I love the bank elevator music. When you go to East Coast, you usually visit a Publix. Yeah, it's below Publix. Publix would be like, you know, the grocery store whose business model is being like nicer quality, but is also a bit pricier. Usually only visit Maryland. Giant, that would be another equivalent. When I lived in Maryland, I'd go to the Giant to shop in college. Carry bags from Giant like half a mile walking back to my apartment. Not a fun trip to make in the winter. Wouldn't recommend. I lived in Baltimore. You had a roommate who loved to shop, so he did all the shopping for you. When I lived in Baltimore, I did not have a roommate, aside from freshman year, and I've talked about that guy before. I don't want to... I have not had a roommate since then. And I also did not have a car, so... Yeah, I went to college in Baltimore. Did I graduate? I'm currently on a medical leave of absence, and I'm probably going to go back next year to finish up the last semester I have. I took a leave of absence senior year. Welcome back, Lawsy. Moved all the way across the country to Oregon? Damn. Big trip. Did you have family out in that area? How long are you mowing Moonlord for? I don't know, like 55 hours roundabout? Probably somewhere in that ballpark. What did you miss? Mowing the lawn. Your parents live in Idaho. It's only about 6 hours from them. And your friends in Washington about 3 hours away. Huh. Why'd you move to Oregon, then? Like, what was out there that, or is it just, like, the cost of going to school? Was it particularly cheap there? One thing I do remember about Baltimore is it was expensive in Baltimore. Portland's cheap, and so is the cost of living. Makes sense. Like I said, Baltimore's expensive. There's a homeless lady, Amy, who would paint things for money and food, and a lot of out here adorns my walls. That's sweet. I remember on my first day arriving in Baltimore, there was like a homeless guy with a crowbar that chased me and my dad down the street. Gordon Freeman, yeah. No, genuinely, when my dad dropped me off at college, the last time I saw him, we had gone to go, to a bagel shop. And then there was just some guy, like, moving pretty quickly down the street, waving around a crowbar in his hand, just, like, yelling things. And the last thing I saw him, we just, like, ran in opposite directions down different streets as he was going back to his car and I was going back to my apartment. Good, like, second or third date was taking someone to the National Aquarium. I had to go to the National Aquarium for bio class. I like it there. I went there at a time when it was very, laid back and quiet. Not too many people there. I like it there. It's nice. I like how small streams actually have convos longer than 20 seconds. Yeah, it's nice when I'm not streaming at like 9 AM and I actually have energy too. First time we went on a date with a guy was there. I refuse to look at the sharks. Since they were scary. No, fuck that guy. You went on a date with this man? And he didn't even like sharks? Like, red flag number 1. I'm sorry, if your date does not like sharks, leave him outside. Ladies, men, you can do better than him. Find you a man that loves sharks. What's wrong with sharks? Shark Week and, like, Jaws propaganda. You don't get it? He was so cute, he made me like men? It doesn't matter. If he doesn't like sharks, he can get out. There is no room in my heart for a man or woman that doesn't like sharks. You know, maybe we can negotiate on some animals, alright? You know, if you don't like, you know, some insects like isopods, I don't agree with you, but I can potentially tolerate that. Okay, but sharks, there is no excuse. Thank you, Tom. Somebody had asked earlier if my parents know about my YouTube channel. My dad does. The rest of my family doesn't. Although my older sister that I live with does. What in the world and why do people like Blahaj? Okay, so slightly controversial opinion here. I don't actually like the Blahaj that much. I'm sorry. I think it's a mid shark plushie. I think there are way better shark plushies. But the reason is, it's like been used as like a trans icon, I believe. So it's very common among like, femboys and, trans women. It's that IKEA shark, the one with like the dopey, toothy expression. And like, I'm sorry, but it's not a good quality plush. It's made by like IKEA, okay? There are better shark plushies. I'm not going to align myself with IKEA's corporate interests. You just want to collect plushies? That's fair. People in my sister's work. So my sister works at like the local electric company. And she works in the IT department. And a lot of the people that work there are, you know, living in the South. You get the more like conservative, rugged, you know, older guys a lot of the time. And I just can't with these men because they don't understand why you would want to go to a reptile expo. Okay? When my sister told them and we were trying to find a ride to the reptile expo before I asked my other sister, none of them understood why you would want to go to a reptile expo. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? It's a reptile expo. They didn't understand why I wanted to get a stick bug or millipedes. You know, these people understand nothing. I never really go to IKEA. You had a pet snake as a kid? I have a pet gecko, who has, a very large bioactive vivarium that I built. My sister has a pet leopard gecko in the other room. He mostly just, you know, vibes. I don't play with him too much. She also has a bearded dragon, but that's stuck at my mom's house. My mom has kind of just, like, assumed ownership of her. My sister and I got a stick bug at the Reptile Expo. His name's Chawdog. I got some isopods, started an isopod colony. I really like, okay, so small tangent about isopods. Isopods are very different. You know, there are a lot of different colors and breeds of isopods. And they're not all going to fit the same in the same things. Like, if you're making, like, a bioactive enclosure for a reptile, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you don't get, like, dairy cow isopods. Or similar isopods of the same, species. Because they are very protein hungry. They will nibble on your animal. If you have something like a millipede or, you know, something that molts on the ground, they might just fucking eat it. They are ravenous and they breed like crazy. I don't think dairy cows are a good fit in a lot of bioactive enclosures. However, there is if you like the look of dairy cows, there is an isopod who is much more mellow, is not very protein hungry, probably won't nibble on your pet, is not just going to be a ravenous hunger machine. And those are Oreo crumbles, and I love Oreo crumbles. They're one of my favorite isopods. And I have a lot of Oreo crumbles. They're the ones that are established in my bioactive enclosure, and I made a little isopod colony that's in the living room right now. With some new Oreo crumbles that I got. And they're basically just a, like, white and black, cookies and cream color. I like them a lot more than dairy cows. You gonna do some grocery shopping? Alright, see ya, good luck. What's an isopod? An isopod is, a small insect that you know like a roly-poly is? They're kind of like those. They're essentially a small insect that you add into, well, you can keep them on their own, but oftentimes they're put in bioactive enclosures, meaning essentially a small ecosystem that you've manufactured for an animal. Why did I attack that hand over there? I was running completely on autopilot. I should not do that more, it's only got 5 HP. Opinion on spiders? Spiders are alright. Not a huge fan, but I don't dislike them. But anyways, you add them into... Sounds like a lot of effort to take care of. Oh, they're not at all. But a bioactive enclosure kind of is, if you're talking about that. The thing is, bioactive enclosures are difficult to get established, but once you get them established, they're not actually that difficult to take care of. Because you essentially have plants that grow, and then a cleanup crew, which is basically a bunch of detritivores, small insects that break down decomposing matter and waste, and then you have your reptile. And as a result, most of your reptile's waste will get cleaned up by the cleanup crew, and you don't have to do very much cleaning of the tank. It largely breaks down its own waste matter. Obviously not completely, and some things are going to be where you know, the detritivores can't reach. Yeah, establishing isopods and something like that is common. They're one of the most common choices of a cleanup crew. Instead of take care of yourself, let alone a living creature. Well, reptiles are... If you wanted to take care of a living creature, reptiles, especially more dormant reptiles like snakes, are one of the easier ones to take care of because they're not going to require that much care. It's not like a dog where you need to, like, take it for a walk all the time and feed it multiple times a day. Or a cat that's going to constantly be needing attention. It'll just sit in its cage, feed it. Depending on the reptile, you know, maybe once a day, maybe once every couple days, maybe, you know, once a week. And you just make sure its temperature and climate is fine. Clean its tank every once in a while. Yeah, I like my crested gecko because she, what pets do I have? I have a crested gecko, that's it. That's the only pet that is mine, strictly speaking. I guess the isopod colony is also mine, but they're more of an investment than a pet. My sister has 2 cats, a stick bug, and a leopard gecko. An investment? It's nice to have an isopod colony. That way, if you ever do something that requires isopods, you can just take from your own colony instead of buying more isopods. Like, if I ever want to establish them in a new enclosure, or, you know, change out the substrate that I have, something got in it or something, and I want to, you know, replace it, I'm going to need new isopods, because the ones that I have in there are probably going to die. So having a source that I can pull on myself instead of having to buy more is convenient. Did they ever try to eat my gecko? No. These are not... These isopods are not, like, protein hungry. They're not going to try to... They're not going to really go for, my gecko. Plus, my gecko, she's an arboreal species, right? She doesn't stay on the ground very much. She sleeps in a log, you know, a foot off the ground. There aren't really anything in there. And even if there were, like I said, I got a species that isn't protein hungry, so they're not going to try to nibble on them. Dairy cows would be fine against, like, a herd-shelled... Oh, sorry, a herd-scaled reptile species, where, like, they're not really going to be able to nibble against them. But, like, something that molts, like a lot of arthropods, spiders, millipedes, centipedes, or, like a crested gecko, which is a soft-scaled gecko, something like that would be very easy to nibble on, and is not something you want to habitate with a protein-hungry isopod. What's my gecko's name? Need to know, Bismarck. Need to know. Your dad used to have frogs? Frogs are really cool. There were tons of frogs outside of my sister's house. Like, genuinely, we stepped outside to plant a rose bush and a blackberry bush last night at like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., something like that. We probably walked by like 20 or 30 frogs in the mulch. Like, genuinely, they're fucking everywhere. I can't take a step outside without almost stepping on a frog. $615.87. Yeah, I would highly recommend, if you're in a situation, your brother and a cousin accidentally murdered someone, that's not possible. You can't accidentally murder something. By definition, murder is premeditated. That's not murder, that's frog slaughter. It's like manslaughter, but, you know, a frog. But yeah, I would highly recommend, if you're in a situation where there's a reptile expo in your area, I would highly recommend getting tickets and going to it, because Reptile Expo is a super fun experience. Even if you're not trying to buy a reptile, there's a lot of really cool shit there. You can handle a lot of reptiles. A lot of the times, breeders will, you know, take, you know, not the dangerous species, but, you know, ball pythons, tamer geckos, stuff like that, and you can, like, handle and play with the reptiles. Hey, Pixelassi. You were throwing snails one day and breaking their shells? That's not very nice. I used to torture ants as a child. I still feel that that is justified, because they were ants. I would just, like... I would, like, find them on the beach, and, like, trap and isolate an ant, and then gradually, like, dig in the water until there was, like, a pool of water, because, like, the water table on the beach, if you dig down, you find water. And I would find water, and I would just put the ant in the water, and then I would watch it drown, and if it got out, I would pick it back up and then put it back in. And then if it managed to get away enough times, I would just, like, break its legs and watch it try to escape. And then if it tried to escape too much, I would just put it back in the water and it wouldn't be able to escape. Did I see the... No, I don't watch YouTubers, Tom. What the fuck? Look, they're ants, okay? It's just, you know, young kid things. Most ants survive underwater for a few good hours. Maybe I suffocated them. Maybe that's what I did. I don't really remember. I just remember torturing ants. There were definitely points of time where I would, like, dig a hole for an ant and then put it in there alive and then just, like, dump a bunch of sand on it to see if it died. Never intentionally killed any animals. Well, these were, You're telling me you never killed a mosquito? That's bullshit. That is bullshit, Bismarck. You never killed a mosquito or, like, a fly? How old was I? I don't know. Mosquitoes don't count? Why don't mosquitoes count? Why do ants count, but mosquitoes don't count? Mosquitoes are important for the ecosystem? Holy shit, Rainworld reference? Yeah, they're important for the malaria system. I do like lizards. Mosquito design? What do you mean mosquito design? It's not fucking concept art. They keep insect population under control. Okay. Slight nitpick. They are an insect. Anyone into climbing? I'm not, no. Climbing's spooky. Oh. Take a sip of water. Like climbing into bed? I like climbing into bread. I like bread. I like... No, that's not what I said, Bismarck. What the fuck? It's like snapping into a Slim Jim. Climbing into bread. What? It's an expression. Well, you've never heard that before? Climbing into bread like eating bread? It's like snapping into a Slim Jim. You've never heard that expression before? It's because it doesn't exist. Why would anybody say that? That's stupid. You believed that? Wow, what a dumbass. Bismarck. Really? Yeah, of course nobody said that. Hey, that's not nice move, Slugcat. Hold on. Yeah, as I say, Gaslight, Gourmand, Girl Boss. The 3 J's of life. Hey, thanks. What's the damage goal today? I don't know. We do enough damage now that I don't really bother having a goal. I'll just do as much damage as I feel like. You think about you change your name from Recoin to... okay. It's certainly a lot more difficult to read. How is that pronounced? Oiko? Oikolix? Something like that? It's a lot more distinct. A bit more difficult to read at a glance. Yuko? Okay. I would not have guessed that one. Definitely a lot more distinct and memorable. Bit tougher to read, though. What's wrong with chat? Bismarck. Bismarck, go commit stickbug swaying in wind. Oh, sorry, swaying like wind. Why? I don't know, I think it looks funny. You're the apex? You are the apex predator of, like, a jug of milk. You heard me. I said what I said. You are the apex predator of a jug of milk. I stand by that statement. No? Do you have any proof? Are you saying that you're not the apex predator of a jug of milk? Are you saying that a jug of milk would defeat you in a fight for survival? Or there's something within a jug of milk that would best you in combat? No, it sounds like you're gonna get your ass beat by a jug of milk. That's what I'm hearing. I wouldn't expect any more from a corn boy. You heard me. I called you a corn boy. You gonna do something about it? Because from where I'm standing, I'm seeing a corn boy who'd get the shit beat out of him by a jug of milk. What does a corn boy mean? You only know femboy and rose boy? What does rose boy mean? I've never heard that before. I'm not familiar with that term. Shoots a Moonlord death ray at Bismarck. I maintain, like I said earlier, Deerclops, instead of his Shadow Hand, should have a death ray, like the Winter's Feast, Don't Starve together Deerclops as an expert mode attack. Has anyone else ever done this? No. I doubt anyone else ever will again, either. As I find it difficult to believe that somebody would watch me doing this and then go, damn, you know what? I'm gonna do that. You this channel, but are you an actual femboy? Go to my uploaded videos, and I think you'll find your answer there. You can say Deerclops should be Ancient Fuel Weaver. Nah, I think Deerclops is the right choice as a Don't Starve boss, because, like, it's all about, like, being recognizable. Like, I think a lot of the people, if the Ancient Fuel Weaver were added, would not know who the fuck the Ancient Fuel Weaver is. I wouldn't even recognize the Ancient Fuel Weaver if you just, like, showed me a picture. Like, I wouldn't go, oh yeah, that's the thing from Don't Starve. It's just like it's Skeleton Guy. The twins are not that recognizable? No, but the Eye of Cthulhu is. And the twins are basically just added as a bonus harder version of the Eye of Cthulhu fight. The Eye of Cthulhu is the main boss of the crossover, in my opinion. You're gonna run me over with a lawnmower? That's not a safe practice at all. You don't really run with a lawnmower, you want to walk at a steady pace. Otherwise, you're gonna be putting yourself and others in danger. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to give you a certification for this job, Bismarck. You'll have to seek employment elsewhere. I cannot trust a man who does not know basic lawnmower safety protocol. How many hours do I have in Terraria? About 4,500. How did you make a threat and then get rejected from a job? You posted it on Twitter and cancel culture got to you. Did I play DST? I have played a decent amount of Don't Starve together, yeah. I have maybe like 100, maybe 200 hours in it. I've done a couple of streams of Don't Starve together as well. Cancel culture is scary. So are eggplants. Eggplants scare the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. They're so, like, purple. I don't trust them. Eggplants are up to something. Mark my words. November 27th, 2025. The day of the eggplant. My favorite item besides Flare, the Phoenix Blaster. Nice. The game is good. Don't Starve Together is fun, but I feel like it gets stale quickly. And I feel like I have not liked a lot of the updates they've been adding. I stomp on people's eggplants. Fuck eggplants. EBT, eggplant and broccoli torture. But yeah, I have not liked a lot of the content that have been added to Don't Starve Together over time. I feel like the game's getting bloated with content. And I feel like I get bored of the game within, like, a year or two. You know, by like, spring of year 2, I'm usually like, okay, I don't really feel like playing anymore. I feel like the initial gameplay is fun, and then it kind of stagnates to a boring area after a while. Yeah. This conversation feels like it has an inappropriate message. Just because eggplants are a mildly phallic object that have an emoji that people use to represent a penis does not mean that any conversation regarding an eggplant has that connotation. For sure, you have like 3,600 in your account that got hacked and 850 now, especially the Hound Waves. I hate Fire Hound Waves. Asamo in general, but especially Fire Hound Waves. This one does, though? No, it doesn't. What's my DPS? I don't have DPS, I have DPH, damage per hour. And my damage per hour is about 2,800. Yeah, I know, Mossy. Which makes it feel like a lot of the stuff that gets added on just doesn't feel quite correct. Alright, see you, Philip. You have Don't Stop Together, you don't know whether you should play it. Your spider eggs killed your friend. I think it's a very fun game to play and to learn. I think you should definitely play... Don't Starve Together is best played with a small group of people that you know that are like your friends. I think if you have like 2 to 3 friends playing Don't Starve Together with you, it can be a really fun experience. It gets a lot more boring if you're playing by yourself, or if you're playing with people you don't know, or with playing with a lot of people. But if you've got, you know, a group of 2 to 3 buddies, and none of you are, like, really good at the game, you're all at, like, a similar kind of newish experience, so that one of you isn't just, like, hard carrying everything, it can be a really enjoyable experience to play with friends. Also, when you buy Don't Starve Together, you get, like, a free extra copy to give to a friend, which is really neat. Do Starve Together? I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever died to starving in Don't Starve. Like, it just doesn't happen. You don't die because of starvation, you die because you need to get food, and then you do something risky to get food. Don't suck together? I mean, you're allowed to suck in Don't Starve Together a lot more than regular Don't Starve, because it's, Telltale Hearts are very easy to make, which are the player revives. Like, all you need is, like, some HP, grass, and... Actually, is that it? It might just be HP and grass. Oh, and a spider gland, that's right. HP, grass, and a spider gland. So it's really, like, even if you die, you can get another player to revive you really easily. So it's pretty easy to avoid, like, a total party wipe, unless you're against, like, a boss. You have no clue what to do, you just walked around. Yeah, it's a fun game to just vibe in. However, it's a bit tougher to... If you don't have a permanent base established by winter, that's where a lot of people get their ass kicked, because... it's very easy to freeze to death if you don't have somewhere to stick near a fire that's safe. It also gets harder to forage for food in winter, because stuff won't regrow. I never really did any of the raid bosses. I just never really liked them. A lot of the content in Don't Starve Together just kind of feels like, damn, I don't really want to do that. I'll just do something else. It's my least favorite item in Terraria. Shield of Cthulhu. I don't like it. What do you think about the combat? It's very bare bones and lackluster. The combat is certainly not the strong point of Don't Starve Together. It's just a very bare bones, you kite. Basically every weapon is identical, they just do somewhat different amounts of damage or have different durabilities or things like that. And you basically just kite attacks. It's very simplistic. It's easy to master, but it doesn't feel particularly rewarding. Which is another reason that I've never felt very interested in fighting a lot of the bosses in Don't Starve Together, is because they're just variations of kite and go in for damage. And just micromanaging durability and hunger and HP and stuff like that. How long will the stream take? I don't know. I'm not going to do this all in one stream, if that's not clear. I'm going to go until I just don't feel like streaming anymore tonight. You could not even chop down a tree, but you'll try to get your friends back into it. Okay, so pro tip. If you're starting Don't Starve Together, I would suggest playing as a beginner-friendly character. Woody with an infinite durability axe, very beginner-friendly. Wendy with Abigail, very beginner-friendly. Wigfred, once you get past the initial period of needing to find meat to eat, very beginner-friendly, great at combat. Not that, if you never like the ocean, rather than the monkey raid, it's really annoying, and if you defend the ship and kill the monkey, you have to go to the monkey island. I liked the ocean before the monkey update. I liked just going out there and vibing. I liked going to the waterlogged biome and getting the giant tree nuts and planting the giant trees. I liked fishing because I would play as Wirt, and you could fish up like the seasonal fish. It was kind of a nice relaxed vibe. And I liked doing it. And then the monkey update completely fucked that whole thing over, and now the ocean sucks and I hate it. How much is DST? I think it's like $10. I don't know. Might be on sale. It's not the Steam summer sale anymore though, so I don't know. And when you buy one copy, you get a second copy. To give to a friend. You got it for $2, like right now? Because sometimes the game's on sale and sometimes it won't be on sale. I don't think the base game's price is $2. How long have I streamed so far? Today, 2 hours. In total, 56 hours maybe? I don't know. Kind of taking a guess there. Welcome to the evil side where everyone hates the oceans. I mean, I liked the ocean. Weird that you get 2 copies? Well, the whole point is to play the game with a friend. It gives you a copy to gift to a friend. It's Don't Starve Together, not Don't Starve. No, you don't? I mean, I still like it. I just really don't like the monkey raids. Like, I'll still go out in the ocean. I like playing as Wirt, and as Wirt, there's a lot to do in the ocean. There's fishing up the seasonal fish to maintain your temperature. There's going to the, rushing to the lunar island and, the hermit's island early on to get kelp to have food for the winter and filler and whatnot. Do I live in Europe? No, I live in the US. And I just like the waterlogged biome. I like the giant trees. I like having permanent wildfire protection for my base. Is the map randomly generated? And Don't Starve Together? Yes. It's a finite map that's randomly generated. Usually, monkey raids mean that you're near the monkey island. They have a pretty long distance that they trigger from, though. No? Like, it's not just... Like, it's a pretty wide area that they cover, right? It's not like, oh, you get close to the monkey island. It's like, oh, you're in the ocean on, like, the half of the world that the monkey island is near. How did... Somehow my Dead Cells playlist, like, broke. Let's just go back to Bank. I like Bank. How do you farm voodoo dolls in Terraria? Okay, pro tip. Philip. Instead of farming voodoo dolls, make a house in the underworld and move the guide into it. You can just dump the guide into lava in the underworld, and that will summon the wall of flesh. You don't have to farm voodoo dolls. I should make a Rain World video on slug pups. I mean, other people have already done it. I don't have that much to say about slug pups that other people haven't already said. You will unlock them in the course of the DLC Slugcat campaigns. You'll discover them when you discover them. They are something that, by taking certain actions, you can unlock for the game. In the DLC. I will not give you more information than that. Artificer is your favorite? I really don't like the scav aggression in Artificer. My favorite Slugcat and campaign... Or my favorite Slugcat is Hunter. Hunter's campaign is kind of annoying sometimes, though. Campaign-wise, I mean, Survivor. Survivor's campaign is good. You can also drop a medium core character with a doll on you to die in lava. You could do that. That is true. You could do it with a hardcore character, too. And who is Mr. Pebbles? Spoilers. I mean, surely somebody's made, like, a guide video with commentary about slug pups, right? I don't really watch videos, but I've certainly seen videos that looked like guides about slug pups in YouTube recommendations. How big should a Plantera arena be? What difficulty are you on? And, what class are you? Usually. Expert mage. Okay. I would go with something slightly bigger than the screen. Are you in hardcore? Do I know Waffle Time? Define no. I have heard of Waffle Time. I've never spoken to them or done anything with them. Nor have I ever watched any of their videos. I don't really watch YouTubers. But I have heard their name. I know that they're a Terraria YouTuber. So it depends on your definition of no. Yeah, I would just make something slightly bigger than the screen, and then adjust as necessary. If you put honey on the bottom and use a water walking potion, the honey will trap the spiky balls and make them considerably less dangerous. And it also shut off enemy spawns, because enemies can't spawn in honey if it's sufficiently thick. You need like 2 blocks thickness of honey. I had heard about that time death, but I'm not sure of the validity of those statements. I don't know if anything had ever come of those allegations. But I remember people talking about that as something that was alleged to have happened. You like Plantera, you find it easiest and most fun boss? Huh. I certainly don't find her the easiest boss, but I think she is a, you know, pretty solid boss. Have I ever played Darkest Dungeon? Yes. I did a stream of Darkest Dungeon, and then I played the rest of it off stream. I've been wanting to play back through with the DLC. I picked him up on the Steam Summer Sale, but I haven't had the time yet. How do I know so much about Terraria? 4.5 thousand hours. I feel like that's the easy answer there. Need to go to a specific doctor. They said they could sign you up for November. What for? Darkest Dungeon is a great game. Yeah. It's got great atmosphere, great narration. Wayne June killed it. How did I find out about all this? Conversations with other people, testing myself, looking things up on the wiki. There's a lot of things. You have breathing problems that you've had for years. I'm sorry to hear that. That's unfortunate. One thing that you don't get is why people say Plantera is a MILF. It's a plant. Plants are mothers. You know. Expand your boundaries. Open your mind to new horizons. Got Deep Rock for summer sale? Nice. Simp? What? Sucker idolizing mediocre Plantera? Doesn't she have a massive tongue? Is that a bad thing? You would actually stay here and talk, but you don't know what to say, so hi and bye. Okay, see you, Gio. You're getting a little carried away with it. Verbose Virtuoso. Ussy jokes are very unoriginal and not very funny. Hate to break it to you. You prefer unspecified boss? I think it's bold for me to go, Ussy jokes are not very funny and are unoriginal, then immediately make another one. People kept calling you Recoin Ussy. It's just a very old and unoriginal joke. Like, it's not funny. I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's not. I left the Terraria Discord, though. It's kind of just a cesspit there, honestly. Not a very fun space to be in. Alright, see ya things. Like, I joined the Terraria Discord a couple years ago, to, you know, try interacting with the community, seeing what's up. I never really interacted with it until, you know, a while in. Then I started being a little bit active in, like, the Terraria Help and, Terraria PC channels. And, oh boy, Terraria Help is a toxic cesspit. And Terraria PC is fine, but, like, just isn't that active and interesting. God, the people in Terraria Help get toxic. How do you form a super slide in Rain World? Go look up the movement tech worksheet. There's like a 69-page long Google Doc or something that has all the movement tech in it. Just go look at it on there. It'll describe it better than I can. Smasher Pass guide? No, I don't really like making guide videos too much. It's a lot of work. I don't have time right now. But yeah, a lot of the, stop spamming the same question, Philip. That's a good way to get timed out. If I'm not answering it, there's a reason. But yeah, did the fucking... Okay, no, it was just a different song going to. The Terraria Help channel was just very, it was just very toxic, and I didn't like, being there a lot of the time. It was a lot of people that would just, like, be assholes to new players for not knowing things. A lot of people just, like, whining about people not looking things up on the wiki. Or, like, asking stupid questions, despite it being a help channel for new players that don't know things. And then, like, 70% of the time, it would just be somebody being very passive-aggressive and linking to the wiki or linking to a pinned, like, guide with equipment suggestions anytime somebody asked a question. And then, like, a lot of the people who are active in the Terraria help community, would be active in another server, and there in that server was like a channel where people would take screenshots of people in the Terraria help channel of the Discord and then just like make fun of them for being stupid, which really kind of just rubbed me the wrong way, seeing as it's basically just making fun of inexperienced new players for not knowing things, which is kind of all that they do. It's not a very beginner-friendly game. I disagree. I think Terraria is fine for beginners. Like, it's not that complicated or unfriendly. You have the guide, and sure, it's not, like, super intuitive, but they've done a lot of work in, you know, making it more beginner-friendly than it once was. I don't think it's that unforgiving. What's my least favorite boss? Deerclops, for the reasons I talked about on the stream earlier. I don't really feel like rehashing all of that. TLDR is that the Shadow Hands ruin what would otherwise be a fun fight. My favorite boss? I don't know, I'm bad at picking favorites. It's beginner friendly when you have the power of the wiki. You don't need the power of the wiki. Like, if you play Terraria on classic mode, on a classic character, you can be perfectly fine just wandering around and not knowing anything. It's really not that, like... It's not that complex or deep or difficult of a game. I think people really overstate the game being beginner unfriendly. I really don't think it's that beginner unfriendly. When is Femboy Terraria coming back? I don't have any plans to. I'd rather just play other games. You hate the killing pillars? I wouldn't consider the pillars to be boss fights. They're an event. But they are very annoying. Honestly, just a song you like, but it's from the OSC. And you know, people think of the OSC. I don't know what that is. Code of Zomboid? I have heard that word before. I don't know what it is. But I have heard the word Zomboid. How do you teleport without lever? I have switches. And I have Smart Cursor to select the switches automatically, depending on where I'm putting my cursor. Project Zomboid? Object Show Community. Never heard of it. And, like, I assumed it was Project Zomboid, but, like, I don't know what that is. That doesn't give me any more information. It's a game, I figured as much. Top-down zombie game. Okay. Would I incinerate myself if an exact copy of me was created with $10 million? I would not trust somebody who told me that they would make an exact copy of me if I incinerated myself for $10 million. That sounds like somebody just trying to convince me to incinerate myself, and then they can just not make a copy of me and I would not get $10 million. No. What's the hardest boss in the game? I think context matters. I think the answer's... Like, in an objective measure, it would have to be either the Moonlord or the Daytime Empress of Light. But, you know, I think context can change that a lot. The Empress of Light is very learnable, and the Moonlord, by the time you're there, you have very powerful gear at your disposal. Do it? No. Did I not see your text? What text? Asking about the hardest boss in the game? You do realize that, like, I'm fighting a, like, pretty difficult boss, and I can only look away for, like, a second or two at a time. Like, I can't sit here looking at every single message in chat. I have to pay attention to what's going on. Besides Daytime Empress, you sent that after I said it, and I gave you two answers, the answers being Daytime Empress and Moonlord. So, by process of elimination, the next answer would be Moonlord. In any objective measure. Couldn't I set something up to do this for me? I'm sure I could, but, like, why would I? That defeats the whole purpose of doing it. Why play the game if I could simply not play the game? Do I know what a bailing is? Can I get some context? The word bailing can mean a lot of different things and different connotations. It generally means, like, taking something out of something, like bailing out water or bailing somebody out of, like, jail or something. A bailing sounds like a noun, though, and I'm not sure of what a noun version of bailing would mean. Oh, Balisong? You don't have to say it 4 times, Philip. You really don't need to spam chat that much. I'm not going to keep asking. I'm going to time you out if you keep spamming chat. No, I don't know what a Balisong is. There are not that many people talking in chat. Like, half of my screen is just you saying the word Balisong. I don't really care, Recoin. It's spoiler boss theme? What? You know what a butterfly knife is? Yeah, I know what a butterfly knife is. It's just another word for butterfly knife. I used to have a butterfly knife. Picked it up at a flea market for like $2. Dead cells? Which boss's theme is this? Oh! Wait. Is this the Boss Cell 5 theme? Yeah, I beat Boss Cell 5. Occupower is making a lot of games for some reason where they don't focus on their main cash generator. It's kind of weird. I don't think Occupower needs to focus on Rain World. In fact, I'd rather they didn't. I don't think Rain World needs more content added to it. Honestly, like, I think the game's in a fine state, and I don't think... Butterfly Knife's a battle song. Okay. I don't really think there are more stories to be told within Rain World. I think it would, like, if they wanted to do something like Rain World, making a spin-off or a sequel would be better than making, like, more for Rain World itself. I think Rain World is fine as is. You know, something in a different region or, something else entirely. Question remains, what is the main reason behind this challenge? It won a poll. People call the Collector spoiler boss for some reason. Okay. It's weird because I don't think I would know that... Wait, is the Collector what he's called in-game? I don't even know. He was just kind of like the dude. I forget his actual, like, name that he was given. You seem very, fixated on the concept of a moist carpet, Verbose. I would not wear that perfume, though. I have a cotton candy perfume that I wear sometimes. That's about it. You know what the best weapon for Moonlord is? I think in any objective sense, it would have to be the Zenith. If you're talking about pre-Moonlord weapons, in any objective sense, it would probably have to be the coin gun. Being weird and saying weird things does not necessarily constitute a funny joke, Verbose. Like, a lot of the times it'll just be met with, like, an awkward, okay. Unpopular opinion, you don't like the Zenith? I'm not even sure that is a very unpopular opinion. Like, it's kind of just, like, a silly weapon that basically outclasses everything else in the game and makes everything else meaningless by the time you get to post-Moonlord. And it's not an uncommon sentiment that some people are not a fan of it. It's certainly an idea that I've heard several times. Talking about the Moonlord drop. Also depends the best damage in, or... I'm fairly certain that the best weapon for the Moonlord... There are 3 answers for the best weapon for the Moonlord. Okay? The best weapon for the Moonlord, as in the weapon that will kill the Moonlord the fastest, is a Jousting Lance, right? Like... A properly set up Jousting Lance with a speed exploit will just insta-melt the Moonlord, right? So, like, depending on what you're measuring by, Jousting Lance kills him in, like, a couple ticks, with a proper setup. But, assuming you're not doing a Jousting Lance, exploit kill, then the best weapon would have to be, like, the Zenith, because it's just the best DPS weapon in the game. And it's going to annihilate him. But that's post-Moonlord. So if you're talking about pre-Moonlord, then I'm pretty sure the coin gun is the best DPS weapon pre-Moonlord with platinum coins. But that's also, you know, the coin gun with platinum coins, which is not very sustainable. If you're not counting that, then I'm not sure there is a clear-cut answer. As those are kind of the 3, like, busted good weapons that very clearly outclass everything. And then after that, you get to the point where they're all, you know, fairly comparable. I believe... well, not even believe. The Phantasm is the best non-coin gun ranger weapon. I'm not honestly sure about mage weapons. Stardust Dragon is the best summoner weapon for the Moonlord. And, for melee, I have heard somewhat mixed reports from testing, but I believe the Flying Dragon has the fastest kill time on the Moonlord, followed by the Daybreak. I know several people that test kill times on the Moonlord a lot, and I have heard that the Flying Dragon can outperform the pillar weapons in ideal circumstances. You know, hitting hands multiple times, because honestly the Flying Dragon kicks ass. But I've not tested it myself. I cannot speak for that with certainty, but which setups? I haven't tested it. I don't know. I mean, presumably a setup where you're running horizontal to the Moonlord and attacking with the flying dragon, and it's flying backwards and the projectile is hitting 2 segments with each projectile. Whereas something like the Daybreak is only going to hit once. And presumably also doing melee damage with the swing as well. Do I think Downpour is better than the base game? No. Not even close, honestly. Downpour is fantastic, but base game Rainworld is like a diamond. It would be impossible to replicate or continue the vibe of base game Rainworld in a DLC. Like, nothing in the DLC comes anywhere close to the first Rainworld experience of playthrough. It's possible to get all Moonlord segments with the Shadow Jousting Lance? Sure, you'd probably need to set up teleporters, though. By the way, you're a pro butterfly knifer. You're not joking. Your current bailing is a squid industry. I don't know what any of that means, but that's cool. I had a butterfly knife once that I bought for like $2 at a flea market. It was not a very nice one. That's about my extent of knowledge of butterfly knives. Sounds neat. Yeah, no, I mean, Downpour is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I love Downpour. But nothing in Downpour came close to the initial feeling of, like, my first Rainworld playthrough. In fact, there are not many games that I've had as enjoyable a time with as my first time playing Rainworld as Survivor. That experience is something that would be impossible to replicate in a DLC. Now, I have some issues with Downpour, mostly narratively, and, you know, a couple of them being gameplay-wise, but overall, fantastic. I'd probably rate it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Certainly not perfect, but I do like it a lot. What's my favorite game? I'm bad at picking favorites. What's my favorite Dead Cells weapon? Ice Crossbow. At least of the weapons that I've gotten and used. Which I have by no means unlocked every weapon, but of the weapons I've used, Ice Crossbow without a doubt. I love the Ice Crossbow. The Ice Crossbow... When I got to the Giant and was not able to use the Ice Crossbow because he's immune to freezing, I got very annoyed and upset, and then, out of anger, no-hit him the next time that I saw him. All the Slugcats are so overpowered. I think that made base Rainworld fun is the challenge. It's a different experience. I wouldn't say it's, like, inherently better or worse. But the Slugcat power changing does change how you interact with the game. And that does change the vibe of the game quite a lot. But at the same time, like, once you're experienced with Rainworld, like, if you've played Hunter and you're good at Hunter, you can kick the shit out of, like, anything in the game, regardless of whether you're overpowered or not. Like, if Rainworld didn't introduce, like, powers for the Slugcats would have been boring as shit, I'm sorry, but, like, that's how you keep them new and interesting, is by giving them abilities, and I can't fault it for that, because while I like base game Rainworld, I also recognize you couldn't keep doing that in a DLC and still have it be fun and engaging. Yes, Artificer is a very different vibe. Artificer is one of the more unique of the DLC Slugcats. Saint, Rivulet, and Artificer are all very different. Spearmaster and Gourmand are similar, but, you know, recognizably different. Whereas those ones have such sweeping changes to the whole world that it's like... First playthrough, I wouldn't give any spoilers, Flumbus, because there are people here who have not played the Downpour. Slug Cats, yep. Have I beaten Ultra Kill? I mean, I think I did all of the released main Ultra Kill levels on stream. But I have not gone back to get secrets or play it more because I don't want to play Ultra Kill until it's done. Because they haven't finished releasing, like, Act 3, right? And until the game's done, I don't want to get into it. How about P1? I have not played Ultra Kill since playing it on stream, and I haven't really done, like, anything. Like, I basically played the base game levels, and that's it. I think I unlocked, like, one secret level, like the Banjo-Kazooie one. But, like, really, I have not played Ultra Kill because I don't want to play Ultra Kill until the game's done. If there's anything that's, like, remotely not, like, just the base game experience, I almost certainly haven't done it. Is it difficult you spoil it for yourself? Well, don't spoil it for other people. Give them that courtesy, at least. Oh yeah, I think it was Crash Bandicoot. Like, it was a while ago, and, I'm tired. Isn't Ultra Kill very hard? Eh. I mean, I'm sure, like, trying to get good ranks in Ultra Kill might be difficult. Well, like, trying to do things in a certain way, but just, like, the base gameplay itself is not very difficult. Like, trying to do particular objectives might be hard, but it's just a shooty game, you shoot things. What FromSoft games have I played? The Souls games, Sekiro, Elden Ring. I haven't had a PlayStation, so I haven't played Demon's Souls or Bloodborne. And I haven't really played FromSoft's other titles. You haven't played COD on your PS5? I haven't played COD in, like, half a decade. I used to play a lot in, like, high school, but I haven't really played since then. Just kind of lost interest in shooters in general. And don't really have any interest in going back to COD, certainly. You think that hollowed armor kind of spoils you too much if you ended up using it for a long time, messing with the dodge ability over time? I'm not sure I understand the question. Do you mean like hollowed armor is a crutch in the similar way to the Rod of Discord, where if you rely on the dodge, you end up like getting bad habits or playing the game worse? I don't really think so, no. Hollowed armor is unreliable, in a lot of ways, and while you definitely can learn bad habits from relying on hollowed armor, I don't think it's quite at the same level of the Rod of Discord. Because you can't really use hollowed armor to get out of a bad situation. It'll just let you, like, ignore, like, one mistake every 30 seconds. What'd you miss? I don't know. They've also nerfed hollowed armor, in 1.4.4 to the point that it's actually, like, quite a bit worse than it was before. I don't know if Rod of Harmony was pre-Moonlord. Yeah, let's go back to, pre-patch Rod of Discord 1.2. Yeah, if you didn't know, the Rod of Hollowed Armor did get a pretty noticeable nerf in 1.4.4. And I'm not talking about the fact that it no longer dodges the Empress of Light and the Dungeon Guardian. I'm talking about the fact that they changed the way the cooldown works so that it's never operating in your favor. Pre 1.4.4, I'm gonna use two words here. Holy Protection's duration and Holy Protection's cooldown. The duration of Holy Protection is 30 seconds, and it starts, that's the buff that you get in the top left-hand corner when you hit something, when you have Hollowed Armor equipped. And it triggers as soon as it's off cooldown. Now, before 1.4.4, the cooldown for Holy Protection would start at the same time that the buff for Holy Protection began. So the duration of the buff would start at the same time as the timer for the cooldown, which means if you have the Holy Protection buff and 15 seconds went by, you got hit 15 seconds into the buff, you could get Holy Protection again 15 seconds later. You wouldn't have to wait half a minute. If you got hit 27 seconds into the buff, you'd get the buff back 3 seconds later. In 1.4.4, they changed it so that the cooldown starts as soon as you get hit, which means if you get hit 27 seconds into the Holy Protection buff, you'll have to wait 30 seconds before you get the buff back. With the exception that if you don't get hit, it comes off cooldown immediately, and you'll get it as soon as the buff wears out, which is a pretty substantial nerf. It might not seem like it, but that is a big difference. Because normally, you know, that's usually going to make the cooldown for Hollowed Armor 2 to 3 times as long. Because usually you don't get hit when using Hollowed Armor right away. Usually you'll get hit 10, 15, 20 seconds into the buff, which means instead of having to wait 10 seconds, you have to wait 30 seconds. Which is really noticeable, and does make it quite a bit less effective than it once was. Now, it is still very strong, because a guaranteed dodge is very, very good. But you can't just rely on it to just keep you alive indefinitely, because once you get hit, you do have 30 seconds of nothing. You know about the nerf? It was a very, quiet nerf. They also reworked another thing about Hollowed Armor, which was a very, very, very weird thing that Hollowed Armor had before 1.4.4, for no reason, as far as I can tell, which is that for some reason, hitting an enemy when Holy Protection was off cooldown was not guaranteed to trigger the Holy Protection buff. It had a 25% chance to trigger the Holy Protection buff. So, like, there would be some times where you would hit an enemy and you wouldn't get the buff, and you had to hit them a couple times before you got the buff. That's because of that, that system. And in 1.4.4, they changed it so that it was guaranteed if you hit something when it wasn't on cooldown, then you would get the buff. No idea why that system was there in the first place, but that's why. Was the nerf even on the changelog? I don't know if it was. I think it might have been on the... I mean, I think I read about at least that part of the change on the changelog. But I don't remember if the other part was in the changelog or if it was just something I'd realized through testing. Keep switching between sitting and laying down. Please help this very important situation. Just do a handstand. Watch this from a handstand. To be fair, Hollowed Armor also got, it's been buffed and nerfed over time in small ways. Not counting the fact that before 1.4, it was Titanium Armor that had the ability. But, another thing that hasn't been in the game for a little while, but was once a thing, is that, it used to be the case, I forget which update changed this, if it was 1.4.4 or 1.4.1 or what, but it used to be the case that if you dodged an attack, that attack would still apply the debuff. Do people bother getting full Hollowed Armor? Oh, absolutely. It kicks ass. I mean, for, like, the other armor sets that you have available at that point in time, it's almost always worth getting Hollowed Armor regardless of what class you are. It's also, like, basically free, because the mech bosses are usually going to drop enough Hollowed Bows for the armor set. It's mostly the fact that it's basically free that makes it very appealing, along with being pretty strong. But yeah, it used to be the case that when you dodged an attack, you would still get the debuffs for that attack, meaning that, like, if you dodged Spasmatism's Cursed Flame attack, either due to the Brain of Confusion, the Master Ninja Gear, Hollowed Armor, you could still get the Cursed Flames debuff. But then that was changed, which by default, by indirect buff makes Hollowed Armor better. There have been, some small things like that, that have been tweaked. Indirect, buffs and changes. Chlorophyte is more offensive? Yes, but Chlorophyte also requires you to mine 54 bows of Chlorophyte, whereas you're pretty much guaranteed to get 54 bows of Hollowed Armor, Hollowed Bows for free. So, by that virtue, one is considerably more appealing. Usually I'm getting the total armor slightly later on. Yeah, melee, going for total is understandable. And, like, you can go for Chlorophyte. It's just, like, Chlorophyte's a lot of work. And, like, also since Hollowed Armor is basically free, you could always just make Hollowed Armor and then mine for Chlorophyte. Because, like, once you've killed the mech bosses and made whatever weapon you want and, like, made a pickaxe axe, what else are you going to use Hollowed Bows for? I guess you might save them for a Pumpkin Moon Medallion if you're, playing Summoner, but... Building? I guess. I've never really made hollowed bricks. Is that even what they're called? But yeah, we're blowing through the Topeye's HP. We're already like 10,000 down, and we started this today. I'll be done with the Topeye by Monday. I would like that to be true, but like I said earlier, I have a ton of shit going on this weekend. And so I don't know if I'll have enough time to... If I didn't have a ton of shit going on, I definitely could be done by probably Sunday. Yeah, it's about twice the damage we were dealing to the hands. Not quite, but roughly. I'm gonna have to eat soon. I usually eat dinner around 6 o'clock when my sister gets home from work. I might stream again later tonight, depending on how I'm feeling, but, I'll get him down to 57... I'll get him down to 5,700. And then I think I'll pause there. That'll be the cutoff point. Grandma, you can't come over when playing Terraria. My favorite Dead Cells boss? Good question. Honestly, I've really had a fun time fighting the giant with the flint. I felt like that was a really fun boss to fight with the flint weapon. You're gonna fight Plantera with only Hollowed Arm, but then you thought you actually don't want to have an unexpected bottom surgery from a razor leaf going 50 miles an hour? What are you going to use instead of Hollowed Armor? Or do you mean like without accessories, or what? I'm not sure I understand what only Hollowed Armor means in this context. Oh, Chlor. Fair enough. Hey, Koza. For what it's worth, if you're concerned about a razor leaf killing you, Chlorophyte armor is not going to give you more survivability. It's going to give you more damage, but if you're concerned about dying, then Chlorophyte armor is not going to make you die less. Damaging Topeye now? Yep. I see a time death. By the way, my favorite strategy that I came up with a little while ago for Plantera, specifically for the Worthy and Get Fixed Boy Plantera, I love this strategy so much, is, so in For the Worthy, Plantera spawns thorns on the background whenever she, moves her hooks. And those thorns do a pretty considerable amount of damage. If you're not playing a tank, you're gonna have a hard time stomaching those hits. However, if you occupy the background object slot with a different item, then the thorns can never spawn. And the easiest item to do that with, that's not going to disrupt your ability to dodge her, is going to be copper coins. So if you just make a bunch of copper coins, and then drop a bunch of copper coins in the background of your Plantera arena, she will be unable to spawn thorns from her hooks whenever she moves them in For the Worthy and Get Fixed Boy, and it'll make the fight considerably easier. And I like that strategy quite a lot. You could also, like, technically use torches, but then you're going to worry about Torch God and also look a bit weird. Ropes as well, but then you might grab the rope on accident. A lot of furniture items, I think you could use, like, wooden beams. But, like, coins are the easiest. You don't know why the camera bobbing like that is funny to you? Yeah, we better get used to it, because the rest of the fight's gonna be like this. Between here and when we do the core, a lot of flickering up and down. Alright, 57,570. How much health do the hands have? 6 and 5. You may have noticed that at the start of this stream, they had 14 and 11, to which I say, hey, look over there. I'm getting messages on Discord. Let me make sure they're not important. No, they're not important. Okay. Huh. Alright. 500 more, and then we'll pause for the day. And that'll be the, well, they've dealt 10,500 damage over the course of just today. And I might come back and deal more damage later tonight if I feel up to it. You know, 10k per day is going to be like the minimum that we deal. This stream, we dealt, what, 8,000 damage? If we do another 3-hour stream later tonight, that'll be like 16,000 damage. My favorite Hollow Knight boss? Sisters of Battle, followed by Nightmare King Grim. Broken Vessel doesn't get enough love. Broken Vessel sucks. I'm sorry, Sharktails. Like, Broken Vessel sucks. Lost Kin is at least like an engaging boss fight. Broken Vessel is like so slow and boring. Lore-wise, he's very cool. Yeah, but that doesn't make him fun to fight. If every boss in the game is a guy who teleports and has like orange eyes and gloats. Soul Master? I assume? Soul Warrior? I guess but Soul Warrior doesn't float. Soul Master is the one that floats. The Ant in the Trial of the Fool? Ant in the Trial of the Fool. Oh, the Champion? That fight got ruined for me when I realized you could just pogo on the, like, right wall on top of the Champion's roly-poly thing, and the whole thing is like super easy. Give up on the game after you lost 1,200 monies trying to buy the lantern. Rip. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Pure Vessel nearly as much as Nightmare King Grim. Like, Pure Vessel's fine, but I've never really been a big fan of Pure Vessel. Dung Defender is fun? Yeah. Go to Kingdom's Edge. What, for money? Yeah, if you get to the Coliseum, it's really easy to farm money. Oh yeah, the hoppers too. Those work. But, like, also the Coliseum's really easy to farm money in. I usually just farm money in the Coliseum. And I've only found money in the Coliseum, like, once because I wanted to get all of the unbreakable charms from the Grim Troop. Nightmare King Grim feels a bit more fast-paced. And I just like the aesthetic and design of the fight a lot more. Like, Pure Vessel's nice, but I really vibe with Nightmare King Grim. It's less like some epic battle between, like, you and, like, the ideal form of the previous Pure Vessel, and more just, like, you're fucking around with some guy's dreams. Like, hey, yo, Grim, where's my kid? Where's my money for watching your kid? I've been babysitting him for, like, a week now. Where's my money? I'm gonna invade your dreams and just, like, fuck with you. And then he goes off, and then turns into a bat after you hit him 13 times. I mean, Sisters of Battle is my favorite boss. I fucking love Sisters of Battle. The red's a bit bright on the eyes? Yeah, I guess. I had a fun time. I beat Nightmare King Grim on a dance pad. I would not beat Pure Vessel on a dance pad. I do not like Pure Vessel enough to go through beating him on a dance pad. Whereas Nightmare King Grim was a fun fight to do on a dance pad. Even if it took forever and I was sweating like a bitch by the end of it. You like the big fly thing? Gru's mother? The one in the Crossroads? That, like, explodes into a bunch of babies? Okay, I respect it. You know, MILF's a MILF. And dies in 3 Vengeful Spirits. Bro, imagine having Vengeful Spirit before fighting Gru's mother. Thank you, YouTube, for pausing the playlist for no reason. I do wish Dead Cells had more costumes that were like the Ironclad costume in Slay the Spire, where it's not just like different color like robes for your character, but it's like a full outfit that looks like the character. Like, I was really disappointed when I unlocked like the HEV suit and it was just like an orange cloak. I really like the Ironclad outfit though. It's really fun running around as the Ironclad. I wish Cloth was more present in the story of Hollow Knight. I mean, all those characters are like Kickstarter backer characters. She's already pretty prominent for something that's basically just a character that somebody designed to be added in. You backed Hollow Knight, low tier, no character. It was so long ago. I didn't back Hollow Knight because I didn't know that Hollow Knight existed until I saw other people playing it. And I was also like broke as shit because I was young. Let's see, almost done. Should be the last cycle here. Okay. 6, 5, 1, 3, 2, 0, 0, 5. And on the Topeye, 5, 6, 9, 9, 4. Why am I missing defense? Okay, there we go. I just need to take my potion. Okay. I might be back later tonight if I feel up to it. If not, tomorrow. Bye, everyone.